this nation. Personally driving the highways of this nation, I've seen a tremendous increase in the economic traffic or unescorted commercial vehicles moving different commodities for the Iraqi people or moving commerce about this country. Because of our mission across the nation, I've had the opportunity to spend a great number of hours in the front seat of a Humvee, over about 33,000 miles. And I've seen a tremendous increase in commercial traffic from the days when we came here in early January until right now. I don't think there's any doubt that this country is more secure. We've seen the Iraqis take a front seat as far as the security of their country is concerned. A tremendous success with the recent elections where the security forces took the lead in securing those polling sites. So I think without a doubt, we've seen history in the 11 months that we've been here in this country.
Kathleen?
Colonel Brown, this is Kathleen Koch with CNN. I didn't know if you'd heard the remarks yesterday made by Congressman James Murtha calling for an immediate pullout from Iraq. Congressman Murtha, being a Marine for 37 years, Vietnam veteran who'd been awarded the Bronze Star and 2 Purple Hearts. Coming from someone like that, what do you think of this call?
Well, certainly I think that coming from a distinguished American, a distinguished member of our Congress, that the ongoing rhetoric of a democracy, our own democracy, as we look at the future of our participation here. But physically here on the ground, our job's not done. It's been very clear by our administration and by the leadership of the military here in Iraq that our exit from this theater should be conditions-based, and it is conditions-based. And each day we see conditions being met where the Iraqis are taking a front seat. I think that we have to finish the job that we began here. It's important for the security of this nation. It's important for the security of this region. And certainly it's important and a vital interest to the United States of America.
Sir, as a follow-up, though, what do you say to his contention that the U.S. troops there are helping fuel the insurgency? He says our troops have become the primary target of the insurgency, a catalyst for violence. The war in Iraq is not going as advertised. It is a flawed policy wrapped in illusion.
I'm sorry, ma'am. If someone would clarify what she said. I didn't hear all of it.
Sure. She has read an excerpt from the Congressman's comments yesterday, and the essence being that your thoughts on his comments that the U.S. forces there, the coalition forces there, are increasingly the target of the insurgency, and the reason for the violence.
Well, certainly as we support the democracy, our forces and coalition forces are going to be the targets of insurgents. But as we incubate all the national elements of power of this young democracy, it's necessary for us to be here to provide the security, provide the support to the Iraqi security forces to be able to do that. I think it would be, in my opinion, and I think it's supportive of what's being said, is that our job's not finished. And we need to stay here and finish the job that we began. I think that the soldiers, my soldiers, believe that we've made great strides in supporting the democracy of Iraq. And I think all those soldiers want to see that job finished.
Let's go back to Donna.
Sir, it's Donna Miles again. I'm curious about your view of the role of the National Guard and the reserves, the reserve components in supporting the war on terror and the demands that this is placing on you and your troops.
I got part of your question, I think, where you asked is my view of the support or the role of the Guard and Reserve in the fight against terror. I think one of the things that we're very proud of in the Thunderbolt Brigade is being a part of our nation's defense. We have, for many years, been a part of the Department of Defense, Department of the Army. We've taken our rightful place in this war on terror. the soldiers that fight in the 56th Brigade Combat Team and the 36th Infantry Division are very proud to be here in the fight on the war on terror. We're very proud of our participation in this theater of operation. Our brothers that wear the same patch over in Afghanistan are very proud of their service. It's a tremendous bill to pay for our nation because we take sons and daughters that come into this theater. We have tremendous support from our employers. We have tremendous support from our families. On January 1st of 2004, 35,000 people stood in a stadium in Waco, Texas, in support of this brigade's deployment to this theater. On December the 10th, we expect to have over 50,000 people in that same stadium to welcome us home. So I think that we believe in the reserve component's participation in this program. We believe that we are relevant, and we believe that we are vital to the security of the United States of America. We are the oldest tradition. Citizen soldiers picking up the tools of war, laying down their domestic tools, and doing what their countrymen ask them to do. We're very proud of being a part of that.
Hi, Colonel. It's Courtney Cubey from NBC News. In several of our operational briefings that we've had recently over the past few weeks, they've mentioned that one of the main reasons that some of the Iraqi battalions can't stand up completely independently is they lack the logistics to support themselves out in combat situations. I'm just curious of your view of that. Have you seen any progress among the Iraqi battalions in that area?
Okay, I think if I understand your question, it was a question about the logistics for the Iraqi security forces or Iraqi battalions. Is that correct?
Let me just modify just a little, I think. We're interested in knowing how the Iraqis are progressing in developing a logistics capability to sustain their forces.
Okay, it's certainly not part of what I do as the convoy escort platforms, but within the Corps Support Command, right now I think there are 3 support units that have been stood up that are part of the training and part of the responsibility of the Corps Support Command. These soldiers are making great strides in understanding what it takes to support a combat element and to support their forces. I believe that they've continued to grow, and I think that the problem has been recognized early on. They brought these forces in, and they're now doing the training, and some of these forces are actually performing missions in support of the battalions. It started somewhat late, but I believe that this process is now catching up, and I think the support is going quite well from the Iraqi side.
Colonel, it's Al Pessin from Voice of America. Since you're coming close to the end of your time there, I was wondering if you could help me with something that has kind of been raised this week. There was a report that really very few of the insurgents who are caught or whose bodies are identified are actually foreigners, and that the insurgency is overwhelmingly Iraqi in nature. And considering some of the things you mentioned, the election, the referendum, the coming election, the progress in the armed forces, some improvements in the economy, what's wrong with this picture? Why are so many Iraqis still involved in an insurgency that targets both American troops and fellow Iraqis?
Well, I think in any insurgency there's going to be pockets of resistance. As the Iraqi government nurtures and incubates the national elements of power, specifically on the informational side, there's going to be resistance from some of the hardline insurgents, the hardline terrorists. They're going to lose power when the democracy continues to move into from its infancy into its adulthood. But the good news stories of this is that there are a tremendous number of Iraqis who were originally opposed to the democracy that are now participating in the process. I mean, look at the number of people who have come across and participated in the last election. Across the board, we see those who at one time may or voiced an opinion against the democracy or voiced an opinion against the new government who are now moving into the political process. They're peacefully doing things. They're working to make coalitions. They're working to make a better government, and they're working to make a better future of Iraq. But I think that as this grows, as more and more people see the success of the democracy, as the economy begins to take hold and begins to grow, then there's less and less of those who are opposed to it. And I think that it will continue that. As we said, we need to finish the job that we began here.
Follow up. From here, it doesn't seem like it's less and less. And we had the report today of over 50 people killed in a couple of mosque suicide bombings in the eastern part of the country. Can you say when or what would be needed to really see some more significant turnaround?
I'm sorry, sir, you're going to have to give me a clearer picture of his question. I didn't get it.
Yeah, why don't you try again, because I'm not sure I get it.
What I was asking was, what I was saying was that from here, it doesn't seem like there's much turnaround with the high casualties, the large number of IEDs. I was asking when you think there might be a more significant turnaround, or under what conditions you might think there would be a more significant turnaround than the one that you have already outlined.
Well, first off, I think recent increases in IEDs was expected prior to the election. It was expected that the insurgents would have increased activity prior to the elections. We saw that. The activity in post-election, as far as within the area that we operate in, we've seen less enemy activity. Certainly with the kinetic operation that's going on in the West, there's activity out in the West in that particular kinetic operation. But in the normal roads that we travel, we've seen a dramatic drop since the election in the number of IEDs that we've encountered.
Joe, I had to make this the last one.
This is Joe Tabit with Al Hurra TV. Sir, you said that Iraq now is more secure, and at the same time you said that the IEDs number have increased. How could you explain this, please?
Sir, would you repeat his question? I'm sorry.
He was referring to, he was asking you to explain the apparent difference between an increase in IEDs and your statement that Iraq is becoming a more secure place.
Well, I think you have to look at the overall activity of the insurgents. I mean, the IED is a weapon of choice for the Iraqis. They blend in with the local populace. They're able to place those weapons quickly on the sides of the highways. They during high traffic times or during limited visibility when coalition forces are not on the road. By placing the IEDs, it gives them the greatest opportunity for concealment from being engaged. And so in our particular effort, we saw an increase in activity, but in other efforts across the country. I mean, look at what happened in the polls. No violence to speak of in the polls when the Iraqis went to the election. 64% of this country went to their polls and voted for their democratic choice. And I think that demonstrates without a doubt that this is a more secure country, and it continues to become more secure.
Colonel Brown, we have reached the end of our time, and I do want to thank you once again for taking the time to be with us, and particularly also for your service and the service of your men over there, and wish you the best on your return to the United States.
Sir, thank you very much. And on behalf of the 3,500 soldiers of Thunderbolt Brigade, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to serve. And to the American people, I want to say thank you for the support that you continue to give the soldiers. Our soldiers are limited only by the leadership we provide. They make us proud every single day, and they're doing a great job for our country. God bless.
Thank you.
Today's Defense Department briefing. Now to get you